I'm really looking forward to attending the IMTC conference coming up, and I would attend particularly to make my network larger and to make my network a bit more relationship-based, and to be able to bridge that gap that I feel in my work as an academic exists, and that's that actual practice to academic gap, but also the on the ground, what are the actions and who are the actions actually impacting. So those are pretty much why I would want to attend.
I've attended IMTC last year, and I found it a very enriching experience to meet people from the industry. And as you know, I'm an academic, so our world sometimes is very limited to fellow academics and researchers. So it's good for us to meet people from the industry, from the regulator side, from even, people, occasional academic you run into over there, but primarily to get to expand our networks and also to learn how implementation of certain policies is happening and what are the latest technologies. I met some very interesting people doing with all kinds of gadgets, to send remittances and do other kinds of cool things, which is the future of remittances. So it's good to see that in practice. So I think it's a very beneficial conference.
I'm really looking forward to being able to connect with some data, and data being both like the people of what their experiences are. So on that qualitative sense, being able to meet people and how they are transferring monies, and what that particular experience is like for them. So this could be for the organizational lens, as far as what organizations are seen as trials or tribulations, roadblocks, or successes to actually transfer a dollar, if you will, but also on the receiver end. And while I might not come face-to-face, I suppose virtual this year, but face-to-face with an actual person who received the dollar, but how that is being translated into whatever their country of origin is. So for me, it again is really based on what can I learn and how can I take that learning to a broader sphere. So by attending the conference this year, I'm already broadening my sphere. But if I was to discuss this back in my normal job, as far as being a professor, people wouldn't have much idea of what I'm talking about. So being able to connect those different industries back to my industry is what I really am looking forward to making those, doorways or headways through my attendance.
The kind of people I'd like to connect with at IMTC are perhaps, as I said earlier, businesses, remittance companies. Given the global context that exists at IMTC with players from around the world, from Latin America, Asia, few from Europe, and of course North America, I think there is a wide range of people and businesses, government regulators, who have very interesting data, who have very interesting insights, as well as connections, which can open new possibilities for research, for collaboration, and also maybe potential opportunities for our students to engage with, to do research, as well as maybe even start new companies. It's possible that some of our students who are in the MBA program, they could start a business and learn from the networks that exist here. So it's a very rich platform in that sense, with multiple possibilities. And I welcome the opportunity to connect with anyone who wants to have a university partner. And we do have an incubation center at my university, so we can start new companies and incubate them as well. So the possibilities are quite endless, and I look forward to hearing from any of you.
We were really, really glad to be invited to the virtual roundtable and to be able to discuss our latest book. And one of the greatest things about being able to do things virtually, maybe one of the only positives that we are experiencing with our current pandemic, is that we can connect from all over, and that we can connect on multiple different levels, even, while I'm sitting in one hemisphere and you're sitting in the next. And I think that it is an interesting thing that in some ways this also is a way for us to connect on a different level, and make further links, weak or strong, I don't know if there's early identified, but links between some of our research and the actual practices that are going on. Now, keep in mind, we're both academics, and though we have participated in that remittance cycle, both independently and together, we have found that within the data that we've collected, that there are some instances, especially from the qualitative data, I should mention, that we're finding that people are taking that dollar, and I'll just use the dollar because it's the easiest currency to translate here, but taking that dollar and bringing it back to their communities, and it's enabling them to have a fiesta, have a Cinco de Mayo, have a something, and it is something that they can have that parade down their street. Their street might be 3 blocks long, but that one evening is able to bring the doors open, connect through a cup of hot chocolate, and preserve their traditions longer. And we have stories after stories that illuminate this maybe even semi-partial phenomenon that a dollar from another country, and again, currency aside, could be from any country, is helping another country. And it's a really personal basis. And maybe in some aspects, having the virtual roundtable, being invited to do that with the, I don't know, you'd probably have to correct me, 40 or some participants that were on it, those were the people dialed in, and their talks from there linked to other talks, and people got thinking a little bit more on that interpersonal level of, wait, we just, literally had a cup of tea with somebody in another country through sending our blood, sweat, and tears maybe, but sending a dollar to them 3 months ago. So I think it's amazing. It requires a lot more exploration. I mean, that was only one of the findings within our latest scholarship, but one that we really want to delve into further, especially on that qualitative lens. So again, we really thank you for that opportunity, but it is something that I think resonated with a lot of us.
Thank you again for inviting and hosting us. It is good to see so many people. Typically, academic webinars don't have 50 odd people. It's pretty rare to see so many people. So it was good interest and very thoughtful questions from all the participants, which is also good. And also questions that come from a sort of non-academic background, which is also helpful because typically we get very theoretical, very sort of abstract questions, but these questions were very well informed by the reality of what's going on. So that was also encouraging. The point I do want to make is, yes, remittances in many contexts, like Oaxaca, where I did some field work, are very helpful in preserving culture. So that's an argument that we made in the book. And by that, we mean they help, for instance, a lot of migrants, they're required to, given the nature of civil society in Oaxaca, Mexico, people are required to volunteer in the local community, organizations and give work, volunteer. They're required to as a community member and contribute financially and through their time. Whereas remittances are a sort of a replacement for that. And in many ways, they also help maintenance of churches and local community organizations and infrastructure in the local towns and villages. So that I think is significant. And over and above what we already know, that remittances are a lifeline for millions of migrants. They help keep families together, help educate children, and all the other things which we all know pretty well. But in addition, we found this to be an interesting sort of insight.